Welcome to the Holistic Growth Podcast, navigating business and natural health and functional medicine, where we bring you insights and strategies to help grow your practice and amplify your impact. Hey, everybody, welcome to the Holistic Business Podcast. I'm Dr. Tracy Stroup. I am the Chief Health and Growth Officer at Get Healthy Stores. I almost forgot my title. And today we have a very special guest, my good friend, and I would consider great friend, also an incredible practitioner, Chrissy McCammon, who is an integrative health practitioner level 2. And we're going to talk all about that. But she was the winner of our 5-day boot camp, where she put in the practices that we talked about and had increased her store sales and gained followers and done all the things that we actually evaluated. So she got to have a spot on our podcast because I want to know what you're doing in the industry, Chrissy. You're blowing it up out there, helping people and changing lives. So I'm going to let you introduce yourself, tell us who you are and what you do. And I'm just going to be quiet for a second. So welcome to the podcast.
Thank you. It's an honor to be here, Dr. Tracy. I don't know that I do one thing in particular. I love people and I just want them to be healthy. And so I think that you and I are a lot alike in that we share information freely. Like we don't hoard our information to ourselves. I would say in the last couple of months, what I have done is I've run a detox group that I just kind of say, hey, quarterly, I'm doing a detox. Anybody that has been a client of mine will jump in because they know how important it is now. They know how much better they felt. And then new people might jump in with us. And that's always a great time for growth because they come in, join into the group. And I just do a lot of information for free. Whatever's interesting to me at the time, I just put it out there on my social media. I'm not really organized with my social media. And I just am very responsive to my clients and to the people who reach out to me and try to share what I can. And I also recognize that I don't like have one way that I practice. I like I recognize people can do, they know what they can, some people can do a lot and some people can't. So I always say, what can you do? What will you do? What can you afford to do? And then pick the things out of this that is doable for you. The other thing that I've done in this last month, I'm not normally a podcaster. And if you would have asked me 6 months ago about podcasting, and actually, I think I reached out to you and I'm like, what do I do to start a podcast? Because I felt like God was calling me to do a podcast because I was sharing a lot of the same information over and over and over. And so within the last month or so, I started a podcast and I did a 30-day reset at the very beginning of that. So someone could go on. That podcast is just Chrissy, by the way. And they can go on and for 30 days, I do 15-minute teachings of
Yeah,
just
that's
basic information, like get rid of seed oils, and this is what they are. Get sunshine, you need vitamin D, and this is why. So I think that has been helpful in
Yes,
just
that's
educating people.
interesting. Let me just jump in real quick because I think a lot of times we have guests on or people watch podcasts or even like YouTube and any type of webinars just where guests appear interviews. And it just seems like that person is like at such a level of organization and marketing and systemization that we would never attain it as practitioners. And I think as practitioners, we're so busy in the seat, right? We're trying to help the person in front of us. We're trying to help the masses. We're trying to get information out. And then we were ourselves are getting bombarded with questions. So I kind of love the authenticity of you coming on and saying, there's not, so what I hear from you is you're just gaining the system that you are going to implement to take what you do to scale. And I
Mhm.
think that's probably 89% of our practitioners that we have on Get Healthy. They've just grabbed our ecom platform store that has this great store in the front and this awesome scripting tool in the back. And they know they want to go to that next level. And they're like, okay, I got to figure out how to do it. And so you started with some simple things, right? You were like, I'll do a podcast and I'll quit saying the same thing to 50 people. I'll say it to 500.
Right. When they come in for a consultation now, because I do spend 90 minutes with them and I do an intake form and then I spend 90 minutes with them. But for some people, they have no foundation at all. And so the information that I'm trying to give them is almost overwhelming. So what the podcast does is it allows me to say, okay, in that meeting, here's the basics of what you need to know. And oh, by the way, while you're implementing this cleanse, I want you to go to the podcast and
Right.
start listening to 15 minutes a day where you're going to get some deeper information and they're going to understand why they're doing what they're doing.
Hmm. Yep,
I think
absolutely.
as far as the Get Healthy store, when I first stepped into the Get Healthy store, actually it was I think you had suggested it or you did some I don't know. You always do amazing free teaching, which I appreciate, by the way, because you have been very inspirational and very helpful to me as a practitioner. I always feel very comfortable to reach out to you. I try not to abuse it, but you're always free with information. That's wonderful. But so I think I found out about the Get Healthy store through you, and then I joined in one of the presentations that they did. So when I first did the Get Healthy store, I really didn't know what I was getting into, but I trusted you. So I'm like, I trust Tracy, and
Hope
so
it works out.
this is probably a good move. But honestly, like I just feel like the Holy Spirit kind of guides me in a lot of things. And when something comes in, grabs my interest, and I just feel in my gut that it's the right thing. And that's what I did. So I didn't really know what I was doing when I first started. But what I love about the Get Healthy stores, you can have 50,000 affiliate links, which kind of drives me crazy because you have to track all that. And I don't have to do that with Get Healthy. Like my most of the products I love are in Get Healthy. I can just send people there. I can create carts. I can do all the things, a lot of the things I need to do. I can do right there in one platform.
Yeah, and it takes some burden off of you so that it frees you up so you can do these other things that you're trying to do. So
Exactly.
let's talk a little bit about what kind of practice you have, just so you said you started detox group. So you're this integrative health practitioner level two. What is that?
So it's integrative. So instead of just one form of holistic healing, they would include Chinese medicine. It would include Ayurvedic. It would include holistic and naturopathy. So it includes a wider thinking of implementing all of those things. But it's the other thing too. A lot of people coming in, they don't realize, they think, well, if I walk 3 miles a day and I only eat 900 calories, I'm going to lose weight. And that's like a big focus. Like people usually just want to lose weight, which we all want to be healthy. But this comes in and says, well, no, it's more than that. You have to lower your stress. You have to make sure you're getting rest and getting to bed at a decent time. And you have to make sure that you're eating the right types of food. There could be other things going on like a candida or parasites, and you're looking at health more well-rounded.
Yeah, so the whole concept of integrating,
All the
the
things.
being able to analyze testing and look at that and help people,
Mhm.
but also be extremely knowledgeable in herbal remedies at the same time. So
Correct.
I love that practice because you can find a space for everybody. Some people don't want to do testing. They just want to do the right eating and sleeping and all the things. And other people really want the tangible tests. So I think that's great that you can provide that.
When they first come in to see me, I normally will run them through a 21-day functional medicine detox. Honestly, 95% of what is on that intake form as an issue normally clears up. And they normally will lose 10 pounds of inflammation. I hate to say lose 10 pounds. I like to add the inflammation because that's what's happening. You're losing inflammation. But a lot of that clears up in 21 days, which is absolutely amazing to watch. And they're usually shocked because they're usually frustrated by the time they get to me, because they've done all the things that they can think of or that they are aware of. Knowledge is power, right? And they're frustrated. So they come in and 21 days later, they're having good success, which really inspires me to continue helping them.
Yeah, absolutely. Results win, right? So
Correct.
how did you go? Did you start out as brick and mortar and then you found a need that you needed to be online and so tell me about that journey. How did you start out and how did you get to online and podcast?
Correct. That's a good question. So I started I started out just helping people I knew. And then as that was growing and I was getting more clients, I was realizing that I was saying the same things over and over and over again. And I had the sense that in the beginning when I started practicing that I needed to, like, I love working one-on-one with people, but there's that basic information that basically applies to everybody. I could have a conference of 100 people and teach that information to all of them, and it would be great foundational work for anybody. So I realized that I was just repeating information over and over again, and that I could do it one time and be done, like, um, and add to that or whatever as time went on. But so then that's when I got to thinking about the podcast and just having that information out there. The other thing that I was always very cautious of or conscious of was that, some people can't afford $500 a month for supplements, and how can I help them the best way possible? And so they don't have to necessarily have a consultation with me. They could go out and get that 30-day health reset. And then I have products that are linked in there that they could go to the Get Healthy platform and order if they want, but they're getting the information and it literally doesn't cost them anything.
Yeah. So it's probably just a result of demand more than anything else. I always say I don't think anybody desires to be online. It's more of
Right.
demand to be online.
Well,
Because
it's intimidating, honestly. Like, I think that was the other thing too. And one of the podcasts I'm getting ready to do is on the mindset. We think, well, I'm not good enough. Who do I think I am to write a book or to have a podcast? But when I feel like the Lord is leading me in that direction, then I'm like, okay, I have to like get rid of myself, because if my goal is to help people, um, at the end of the day, then that's the best way for me to help people. And if I look kind of crazy for a couple weeks until I figure it all out, then I just will. It'll be fine.
yeah.
Um, I
No, I think it's really great. I know a lot of people, are going to listen to this podcast and they're going to be like, well, if she can do it, I can do it, right?
exactly.
It's the little things that you put in place. And I want to talk a little bit about the business structure of your practice. So, brick and mortar to kind of a demand to be online, then a demand to be like, well, I keep saying the same thing. So, I'm going to share the information. And then you rolled it all up into some groups. So, a lot of practitioners come to me and ask me, like, how did you put that group together? Can you show me? Can you share your PowerPoint? And I do, because my theory is there's 7.8 billion people in this world. Most of them are fat, sick, and dying, and there's only one of me. So if I can get people educated on how to do certain things to help instead of the one-to-one, and we can go one to many, we can effectively help change the health of the world. If we really
Absolutely.
eclectically all come together and be like, hey, what do you do? Here's what I do. So yeah, I train practitioners all the time, and I know we've worked together in the past with that. So tell me about your group structure. If a practitioner is listening today, how did you begin to form your group? What's involved in your group? And then how did you market your group and get the word out? So kind of give me the base structure so that other practitioners can learn from you.
I think early in the beginning, when I felt comfortable, when I got to the level where I felt comfortable, I just went to, say, 10, 20 of my friends and said, I'm going to do this. I want to do this experimental like group. And if you, and I want to track everybody and I want to see what a difference. So kind of like a, cheerleader. And I don't know that I was like intentionally thinking about that at the time. I was just wanting to put into practice what I had learned and get a group of people to do it so I could have results. So I knew what to expect, kind of working out the kinks in that first group. So from that first group, then I went on my social media and and I think this was the other thing too. When I originally, and I loved my natural doctor, but I went through the protocols, and then when I got to the end of the protocols, there was nothing. And so and I think that over time you kind of migrate away from some of the things that you've learned if you're not careful. And so like doing a reset every year would have been nice. And then the more I thought about that, well, like doing a reset every quarter is better, because then you've not gone so far away. So every quarter, I run a group and I just put it out there. So the people who are my clients, I'll send them a MailChimp email and just say, hey, I'm getting ready to do um, a group. If you want to join, here's the links to my Get Healthy store to get the product that you need. We're going to start on this date, but if you don't want to start on that date, you don't have to. You can join us later, whatever. Like, we're just going to do it together. And it's a good way to help all my previous clients, plus people who just follow us,
Hmm.
um, just keep them in the link and keep them thinking about like resetting their body and just giving them their liver a break for 7, 14, or 21 days. Usually after they do that first big cleanup, then if they just do that 7 days every quarter, it doesn't seem so heavy.
Right. Yeah. It's usually that first one where people are like, what? I talked to a guy today on a consult this morning and he was like, I love bread. I was like, well, what do you love more? Bread or health? Which one do you love? Like, tell me who you love more. Because
Are you
that's
gonna let that bread tell you what to do? Yeah.
exactly. It is Dave's bread. So, he was
Oh, well.
justify it. And I was like, we're just going to lower your inflammation bucket. That's what we have to do today. So,
But it's really just 21 days, and that's what I tell them. It's just 21 days. You can do it for 21 days. You spent 50 years abusing your liver, just you can give it 21 days.
nobody would argue if you said you could eat chocolate for 21 days. They'd be
That's
like,
right.
I'm in, sign me up.
This episode is brought to you by Myos MD. What if there was a natural way to reduce the muscle loss we all experience with age? Let me introduce you to Myos MD. Myos MD is a powerfully unique supplement designed to reduce muscle loss, whether it's through aging, injury, illness, or weight loss. The secret? Fortitropin, an all-natural bioactive compound developed by top scientists and researched at some of the world's finest institutions. Here's how it works. Fortitropin has been clinically shown to lower myostatin, increase muscle protein synthesis, and reduce anabolic resistance. In fact, in a double-blind, placebo-controlled study at the University of California, Berkeley, men and women aged 60 to 75 saw an impressive 18% increase in muscle protein synthesis with fortitropin compared to a placebo. And subjects saw these results with no additional exercise. This isn't just a supplement, it's science in action, helping your patients build muscle, recover faster, and live powerfully. To learn more about the research and benefits of MyosMD, visit myosmd.com today.
Yeah.
With your groups, do you host them in a closed community? Do you have a Facebook group? How do you keep everybody together and in communication?
I do it in a Facebook group. So they all just go in there and I'm so I don't know, random. I'll just be like, "Oh, this is what I ate today," or just as things come to me that I think, "Oh, they probably would like to know that." Then I'll just go in there, post it. And then usually like I'll put testimonies and I ask people for their testimonies. Can I share your testimonies? And I feel like that really encourages people because even people that might not have joined that time the next quarter, they may join us
Hmm.
because they'll feel encouraged or they'll have the thoughts and the seeds planted in their mind that I really should do this.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
That the
So,
main, yeah, the main part of the group is in that Facebook group, which is Rooted in Wellness, and anybody can go in. I don't limit it to just my people.
oh, well, that's nice. Then we'll
Mm.
have to put that in the show notes. So, with your Facebook group, you have kind of a 21-day reset. I would imagine there's products. What are some of your favorite products? You don't have to even say company names if you want to.
Mm.
That's totally fine because as long as they're on our catalog, you're allowed to say them. If they're not, no, I'm just kidding. You can say anything as long as they're on the catalog. But
They're almost
favorite,
all of them are in the catalog of Get Healthy Store. I love Equalife. Um,
uh-huh. I do too. They have great kits.
They have great kits. Dr. Cabral is a very honorable person. That's where I got my certification through, and they put a lot of thought in the formulation of their products that they put out there. I love that when he teaches, he's like, "Listen, if you don't want to use my product, it's fine. Use somebody else's product, but get something similar." And so he's not like holding things close either. So I love Nutritional Frontier. I think they have a lot of great products. I love that you feel like they're your friends, like your neighbors down the street or something. They're just very like customer service friendly, and you can call them. And um, let's see, what other ones? I do use some desk bios, like the Omni Cleanse,
Hmm.
depending on
That's
the
one of my favorites.
person.
Yeah.
That's one of your favorites.
It
Um,
is because it has such a high compliancy. You know, it looks complicated when it comes in the box, but then you're like, oh, I'm just making one detox water, taking
yeah,
2 capsules and 1 scoop of a shake. And
yeah,
I
and
move
then just drink your
on that.
water like in the third in the morning, a third at lunch, a third at night, and you're done. But
Right.
I do think also in some of these protocols, it can get overwhelming for people with, especially if they're on them for a long period of time. The less amount the less amount but more effective product, I think is
Right.
easier.
Yeah. Yeah. And, I like multiple delivery systems. I don't like all pills. So I'm always looking around for like, what powder can I use? What liquid can I use? What chewable can I use?
Hmm.
I think people, especially when they're doing some sort of detox and they're cutting out things, they have a mindset of deprivation. And I actually like to give them things that taste good so that they're like, oh, I get to have my, GI complete and it actually tastes good.
Yeah, it tastes like you're getting a little treat.
Right, right. Or they're chewing their Probzyme, or they're chewing their Power Q, which by the
Or
way,
their Air Max, which I love Air Max too. That like
strawberry
everybody
field.
needs Air Max from Nutritional Frontiers. You need that on your shelf.
It's
Your, your
delicious. They're
clients will
delicious.
love them.
I know. I just eat supplements all day. And then I'm like, did I eat anything else today?
Right.
So yeah, so you have a group, you have some supplements. Is there a base regimen? I know when you said you do a functional detox. What are you using for that? That
I'm
for
using Dr. Cabral's 7-day functional medicine detox.
Okay.
It's very simple to do. I think the 7 days, I always tell people, well, you can do 7 days, 14 days, or 21. I would say someone who's like maybe not done one before or kind of unhealthy and you know what I mean, doesn't live a really strict healthy lifestyle. The 21 days would be better for them. But then it's like, again, what can you do? What are you able to commit to?
Because
But
it's a little bit more gentle to spread it out, not quite like napalm.
yes, yeah. And I think like for another thing I like about that detox is you do like 2 days of kind of fasting. You're doing drinks for two
Right.
days, like 4 times a day. And then the next 5 days, you're adding in really healthy meals and the vitamin drinks.
Hmm.
So it's just really giving that digestive system a nice break, a nice fast from all the work, gives it the ability about 36 hours in, you'll notice like the liver starting to detox. And I just love it. And maybe I love it too because I don't have to cook for 2 days. I mean that's a bonus.
Right, there it is. Right. Let's just be honest why we chose
Yeah.
this. So, what kind of complementary modalities do you put in and products? I mean, that's the nice thing about Get Healthy, which, it is why I try to talk about it with all these practitioners because I'm like, you really don't know what you have here because we are lifestyle practitioners. We're talking about all the things, not just supplements. Like I'm talking about what you eat and what you snack on and your castor oil packs and your red light and your shower
That's
head
what I was going to say. Let's talk about Therasage and their saunas and their PEMF pads.
there. Yes.
Um, I just was looking at the PEMF, like Gary Brecka has one that he recommends. It's like $5,000 for just PEMF.
Right.
Their Therasage's PEMF mat does like three, four, five different things. Well, actually does more than that because they have like 9 settings, one being grounding, and then they have the red light. And then they do also have the infrared, and then they have like the gemstones in there, which I've never really studied much into the gemstones, but apparently it's important in carrying the infrared or something. So I love that it has so many options. And then of course I have a Radiant Health sauna, like a big cabinet,
Hmm.
as you do. But like not everybody can afford that. So Therasage on the Get Healthy platform has their personal saunas, which my clients just love. It's very reasonable to purchase it and they can get in every day. And so I workout, all kinds of workout equipment in there. Beauty products if you want beauty products, toothpaste, tons of things in there for options. Essential
Yeah.
oils.
Yep. Yep. And yeah, a lot of oral care products that I've noticed we keep adding more to the catalog. And I think that's a big awareness now. I think people are finally understanding that the mouth is really a reflection of your internal health, your teeth, your gums, all the things,
Yeah.
even the structure. We had Dr. Jill Taylor on my podcast, and she was great because she talked about the mouth,
Yes.
the
She
wind.
actually helped one of my clients because as soon as I listened to that podcast, I was like, I have a client that could use this, and she personally directed us to a specialized dentist in our area, which was fantastic. Again, sharing information freely.
Yeah, absolutely. And she did a little course on it and everything. So that's what I love about Get Healthy and helping practitioners scale, is just getting that one little tool in your
Mhm.
toolbox and being able to use it because it applies across everything you're doing. Like in your podcast, you should be linking back to your store, in
Absolutely.
any of your Facebook or social media posts, you're linking back to your store because people want to know. And that's a big thing I want to address. I try to teach the doctors that I train, like, stop being afraid to look like you're trying to sell something or get something that get someone to buy something because
Mhm.
Amazon is not afraid. And I have nothing against Amazon. They're great at what they do. But as a practitioner, they are one of our biggest competitors because people do circumvent us and will go there and buy product and then come back and ask us how to use it. And I'm like, ethically, that's not right. I was,
Right.
and B, I don't know what quality that product is because I don't know who you bought it from. Now, if they bought it from a brand, that's fine, but not always. So I try to explain to my clients, like, I appreciate you purchasing from me. And so that's what the whole point of Get Healthy was, to make it convenient for the doctor and their client and or patient to get what they need in a timely manner from a wide variety of wellness products. And I think we've done a really good job. And so I'm so glad to hear that it's been successful for you.
Yeah,
Um,
and to your point, like about feeling like because I am anti if you have a Facebook page and you're my friend and you're just constantly selling something, I will unfollow you because I don't like that pressure sales. But I think there is a difference too when I say, um, I woke up not feeling well this morning, and so the first thing I did, I thought you guys would like this information. Like I grabbed my Air Max, I did my Amio silver, structured silver. I got in my sauna and did some dry brushing. Like this is what I'm doing
right.
because I think that just sharing what you're doing, people are interested in that. It's like, okay, well, maybe I should have that on my shelf for the next time I'm not feeling well. Where you're not really like high pressure selling. Some people are really good at that. I'm not. I'm not. I just share what I'm doing. Right now we're experimenting with I call him Rudy, the Lactobacillus rooti. Um, we're fermenting him in my kitchen and my group's following along.
Tell me what's in your future there, Chrissy. What's going to be next on your list for
Well,
how you're growing your practice and your brand?
Dr. Tracy, let me tell you, I never thought I would be in this position, but I'm in the process of writing a book, which I had felt the Lord call me to several years back, but then, it just never felt like the right time, the right people, and then the situation came around where it's worked out. I found a great publisher, and so it's about the redeeming grace of Jesus and how you can have all these painful things in your life, but God can redeem them and use them for good. And, um, you know, I think even in the health journey, learning how to find peace and rest. And I truly believe, like in my practice, there's a balance of the spirit, the mind, and the body. And if one of those is out of balance, then it's like a broken wheel. Like you have to have a balance between all of them. So I don't even know what the name of the book is yet. I wanted to name it Get Off the Bathroom Floor. My publisher was questioning that, so we'll see what it is. But it'll be
That could
finished.
mean something else, like to a college student.
Yeah, well, this is true. For me, it was a very pertinent memory early in my walk with the Lord where I was hyperventilating, crying about something on my bathroom floor. And I heard the Lord's voice very firmly in my head, not audibly, very firmly in my head say, Get off the bathroom floor, go to church, I will take care of this. And from that moment on, it's just been this like amazing walk with him where, you know, if you lean into him, he will lead and guide you and and I feel that way at the practice too. Like, I pray with my clients and for my clients, and when whatever information is needed, he sends it. And so the book is about, the pain in life, and that it's redeemable and God will use it, and hopefully, be a good witness for especially women,
Yeah. Yeah. And
especially
I
women.
think women and, even practitioners in general, I think
Hmm.
we've all come through something painful to get here. I don't know really any practitioner that hasn't had their own health journey, that has that backstory to be like, well, I got into natural health because I went to X, or I had my own personal experience and, nothing over here helped me. And it was this integrative model that helped me. And even practitioners who are medical doctors seeing
Yes.
the results of people that have done that is why they're
Yes.
they're coming over. So,
Well,
you
I
know,
would have been. I mean, I'm one of those people that,
hmm
and I think even to this day, like different things I'm working through is a learning process, and I think it's God's way of teaching, and it
hmm
makes you more empathetic for your and sympathetic towards your clients.
right.
You've been
Yeah.
through something.
Yeah, when you can say me too,
Hmm.
there's a level of understanding that they didn't get anyplace else. And I think that the practitioners in the integrative functional space have kind of been there.
Right.
So
Right.
it's one of those things that, when you suffer a little bit, as you said, God
Or a
uses.
lot.
That's right. No, or a lot. Yeah. So that's exciting about your book. What does the publishing date look like? Do you know yet?
Well, we are to be done writing it with we're supposed to be done writing in April, but then it doesn't get published for another 5 months. So I'm looking at the fall at this point, and I
Mhm.
probably will put it out into the Get Healthy platform
Oh,
once it's done. So I'm really excited about that because I just really want to encourage women. Um, and in the book we also address, where the church has hurt people, and with some of the things that we believed throughout the years, and and especially women. And
yeah.
so I feel like it's, whether you've been a Christian a long time or you're not a Christian at all, it would be very encouraging to people um, who just have had a difficult journey, or someone who just likes to read those kind of stories.
hmm Well, that's amazing. So here you are from chair to chair practitioner to soon to be published author. So
Who
all good.
knew? Only God, right?
Well, I mean that's everybody's, as you said before, sometimes you think you don't know enough or who are you to share and God has the tendency to pick a nobody and make them somebody, so that's just how he works.
Well, and I find that that's interesting that you said that, because I just had a conversation earlier today, and we were talking about how, actually in my morning Bible study, about how we feel like everybody else's story is worse than ours or better than ours, so our story's not as important. So, so and so over here, their story's much, they've been through a lot more than I have. But
hmm
again, going back to, I think about that verse in Revelation that talks about the testimony and the blood, your testimony and his blood, and how important that is. So every testimony is important.
Amen. Well, thank you for being here today and sharing your journey. For our listeners, if you want to get in touch with Chrissy, you can find her at Rooted in Wellness. She also said you can go join her Facebook group. I heard it here, so it's all free.
Yeah. Join the
Uh,
Facebook group and then the podcast too. Like I tell everyone, like, use any information that might be out there to help your clients or whatever. I'm
yeah,
open source.
yeah. Go subscribe, check it out, and you can share those little tidbits with your clients as well. They're always helpful. And if you're just someone listening that is not a practitioner, you can go check out that podcast with Chrissy as well. Thanks for being here, Chrissy. It's such a pleasure catching up with you. And I'm so proud of everything that you've done. And I can't wait to read your book. I know that I hope to get a signed copy.
You will. You will. Thank you for having me.
Oh, absolutely. Thanks, guys, for joining us here at the Holistic Growth Podcast. Make sure you like and subscribe to our social media channels and to this podcast. Share it with somebody who can benefit, and we will catch you next time.